Hi there, my name is Pat. Welcome to MMFit Fitness. This is a space where I'm going to be sharing fitness tips in order to promote healing and livelihood in all communities. So today, what we're going to be talking about, how to start a fitness journey. This is my first recording, so don't mind me making many mistakes and checking in my notebook over here to make sure I'm on track. So in regards to starting a fitness journey, what I like to tell people is, I'm a personal trainer by trade. And so I like to start off with talking about, what exactly are your fitness goals? And this is a very important topic. I got a YouTube video where I will break down goal setting and how I like to kind of set up my fitness goals. So check my YouTube page out too, PT Pat. Also, when you're goal setting, it helps you kind of understand how to benchmark your progress on a fitness journey. So that's a very important first step, is to figure out, what exactly is my intention here? What am I trying to do with my fitness journey? What am I trying to accomplish? Because it'll help guide people in order, to help answer questions that they have along the way. For example, if you're trying to gain weight, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to have a performance goal, an athletic goal, aesthetic goal, who knows? It's important to understand exactly what it is you're trying to achieve so that you can start to ask questions and develop a plan that you can follow to keep you consistent and reaching your goals, instead of just, putting yourself in a situation where you could potentially hurt yourself. The second thing that I like to check in with my clients about is, hey, what's your medical history? Do you have any chronic conditions that affect your ability to exercise? For me, I'm gonna be honest, when I talk about my medical history, there are a list of chronic conditions that I have. It doesn't necessarily affect my heart rate. However, it does affect my ability to complete my normal daily functions. To be honest, I'm HIV positive. I have mental health disorders like PTSD, severe PTSD I got, and I also suffer from depression and anxiety. And so I guess anxiety definitely does affect my heart rate. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm triggered, my heart rate does go up, and I kind of use fitness in order to help me regulate that. And we'll talk about more about that in another episode. So that's why I think it's really important to understand your medical history and what exactly it is that you're getting into a fitness regimen for. And then that leads to a big disclaimer that I throw out. As a personal trainer, I like to make sure that people check in with a doctor, because it's important to understand an order to things. If you're going to be doing something that affects your body, if you're going to be doing something that affects your organs, your brain, you might want to check in with doctors in order to make sure that you understand baseline information about yourself, what chronic conditions you may have, getting screened for chronic conditions, doing labs, for example, or just your annual check-in. You know what I mean? It's really important to discuss with your doctor when you do that. I'm getting ready to start an exercise program. Do you have, any recommendations for me? Do you have any limitations for me? Do you have any tools that I can use to help me thrive as I begin to start an exercise program, considering my unique body? And that's a very important discussion to have with a doctor. If you do have a trainer, it's also very important to discuss that with your trainer. That way you kind of set up a team of people who are helping you achieve your goals here. And we're going to talk about that later on as well. So after you have talked about your medical history and any chronic conditions that may affect your ability to exercise, it's also important to think about any medication that you take that can affect your ability to exercise. And I usually ask my clients, do they take any medication that affects their heart rate? But I think it's important to understand medication and people who take pills and what those pills, the side effects can be. A lot of the time, people who take pills can suffer from things like dehydration. It's important to recommend hydration strategies when someone is taking medication on top of completing an exercise program. And then that's another thing where nutrition becomes very important as well. If you understand that you are taking medication, if you understand that you have any chronic conditions that affect your ability to exercise or your mental health state or anything like that, nutrition and hydration become very important concepts to ask questions about and develop a plan and a program about. And we can talk about that on a separate topic as well. Then there's also understanding any past injuries. Now, if I'm beginning an exercise program, I want to understand, how adding resistance onto certain body movements is going to affect my particular body. Now, if I know that I have, a history of ankle mobility issues, like, for example, if I played sports as a youngster and I tended to sprain my ankle or break my ankle or have an injury, like, what is it, that I can do in order to maybe strengthen my ankles, So it's important to discuss that with someone, and even to, be well aware of yourself when you're beginning an exercise program. So for me, in particular, I have plantar fasciitis. And so what I do with my clients, like, I'll ask them about their kinetic chain all the way from their ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, and up. Neck, wrists, elbows, all those things, in order to understand how I can move them. Now, it's important to understand that if you're starting an exercise program, you probably should know how to move yourself. So getting involved with a kind of like a tracking of the things my body has been through, it's important to know that before starting an exercise program as well, in order to kind of be gentle and tender to our bodies. And then there's also understanding what pain you may have, and what joint mobility issues you feel yourself. And so it's important to engage with your body and to take things very slow in an exercise program. And so thinking about the pain that you may already have, thinking about your joint movement already, thinking about any occupational movements that you have that are very concurrent. Whether that be, you work at a desk where you're sitting often, or if you're a construction worker, or if you're a mechanic and you're constantly, cranking at something and that's affecting your shoulder. Like, it's important to know, how your common daily movements affect your joint mechanics. And so being aware of that is an important thing before starting an exercise program. And then there's also understanding your schedule. Before you start a fitness program, you want to schedule yourself for success. So if you know that you have a hard time waking up early in the morning to work out, it's not wise to be like, well, you know what I'm going to do this New Year's resolution? I'm going to work out at 0500 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, how consistent will someone who has a hard time waking up in the morning be with working out every 5 a.m. 3 days a week? Not likely. And so setting myself up for success, I want to make sure that I set myself up not just with a schedule for when I'm working out, but also a schedule for, eating, a schedule for sleeping, a schedule for hydrating, a schedule for medication intake and adherence, scheduling for work, scheduling for, building my life in a way where, I can really enjoy this exercise program, and it's not going to be more of a time conflict than anything. And then lastly, what I like to talk about with my clients is a set of pillars that I like to have established before starting a training program with them, so that they understand what it is that they kind of need to do on their own end in order to have a successful workout program. And those 5 pillars of success in a fitness program, I'm going to talk about in another episode. In the meantime, I'm going to make a very much smaller video about this, but this is going to go up on YouTube, and hopefully, as I continue to give people more information and to dig deeper into some of the concepts and topics that I'm, well knowledge and educated about, and practice, many years of training, both as an Air Force veteran and, as a personal trainer. I'm pretty sure that there are many communities that can benefit from the information that I'm sharing here. So thank you for checking in with Maniac Fitness, our first episode recording. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, check out my Instagram, pattyps_pat. That's the handle. And also share these fitness tips with your communities, because the more that we build community around healing and wellness, especially around, you know, the freedom of sharing this information and the capacity that we have to build one another and to help one another live, especially, you know, out of a pandemic and dealing with many epidemics. I think that we have the potential to really do some really good work here. So continue to check in with me. I'll be pretty consistent checking in and putting things up on the virtual realm on many platforms and in many ways in order to connect with folks. So I hope that you all fuck with me. I'm Pat. This is Me and Fitness. And you'll get to learn a whole lot more about me as you check out my social media and hear from me on these videos on YouTube, podcasts. I'm also going to be writing blogs and whatever I can to get as much information out as I can. So thanks, and I'll check in with y'all again soon.